Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this, Tao Gongwang was genuinely stunned. As the head warden of the heavenly prison, nobody knew better than he did just how tight security was. Even a powerhouse from the heavenly realm couldn't just waltz in, let alone sneak into the 18th level. He didn't recognize these three Taoists, yet here they were, materializing on the 18th floor as if from thin air. How was that even possible? Who are you? How did you get in here? Tao Gongwang blurted out. No one answered. Instead, the three Zhang brothers all looked at Jiang Hao. Jiang Hao, however, ignored Tao Gongwang, focusing on Helian Feng and the others behind him. Even though Jiang Hao was stuck, the shadow demon could move freely, thanks to the shadow demon secretly monitoring the surroundings. Jiang Hao knew they were coming. He hadn't warned the Zhang brothers to hide, though. He saw this as an opportunity. He'd been puzzling over how to get Zhang Jiao and his brothers out unnoticed. Now, someone was handing him the perfect solution. And who are you? Jiang Hao asked Helian Feng and his crew. Jiang Wenhua started to speak, but Helian Feng pushed him aside. Does the Duke of Wei recognize me? Helian Feng asked, staring coldly at Jiang Hao. Jiang Hao narrowed his eyes, thought for a moment, and then made a judgment. You must be Helian Feng, the Pope of the Black Witch cult. Jiang Hao was much less familiar with the Pope of the Black Witch cult than he was with the Archbishop. The Black Witch cult was usually run by the Archbishop. Pope Helian Feng preferred to stay in the shadows. Still, as a Heaven Realm powerhouse, Helian Feng was undoubtedly the cult's backbone. Jiang Hao didn't expect that barely a month after dealing with the Archbishop, Helian Feng himself would show up. Was this a case of the big boss showing up after the little guy gets taken care of? Are you here for revenge? Jiang Hao asked curiously. Helian Feng's eyes turned icy. So he did fall into your hands. Jiang Hao blinked, then smacked himself on the forehead, smiling sheepishly. Looks like you didn't know. My bad. Guess I'm a little confused. No biggie. So if you're not here about the Archbishop, what does bring you here? Then, he seemed to remember something. His gaze darted to Jiang Wenhua. If I remember correctly, you're Jiang Wenhua, Justice Minister Jiang Wenan's little brother, formerly a lieutenant in the Imperial Army. Facing Jiang Hao, Jiang Wenhua, a court official, was a bit intimidated and instinctively answered, I'm a general now. Jiang Hao grinned playfully, here on Yan's orders to take me out. Looks like Yan's really scared of me, sending people again and again. So, what do you think? How should I repay his kindness? Jiang Hao asked seriously, as if really seeking advice. Helian Feng and the others frowned, sensing something was off but unable to put their finger on it. Enough chit-chat. Just kill him and let's get out of here. Wei Yilong, the guardian of the Five Poisons sect, snapped impatiently. As he spoke, a poisonous centipede with a faint blue glow crawled out of his sleeve. With a flick of his wrist, he sent the centipede shooting towards Jiang Hao like lightning. The Five Poisons sect specialized in poison. Wei Yilong's centipede was lethal. One bite could kill even a strong cultivator, but before the centipede reached Jiang Hao, a hand shot out and grabbed it. It was Zhang Bao, standing beside Jiang Hao, too. Everyone's astonishment, he popped the centipede into his mouth and crunched down, swallowing it whole. Jiang Hao looked curious and couldn't resist asking, how's it taste? Zhang Bao considered for a moment. Not bad, but a little small. Not quite enough. Zhang Jiao explained softly, my brother has a special cultivation technique. Most poisons are actually a tonic for him. Jiang Hao nodded, then turned to Wei Yilong. You hear that? Got any more? Give my friend a few more to fill him up. Wei Yilong was speechless. He stared at Zhang Bao, unable to believe that his prized centipede had been eaten like a snack. Not only was Zhang Bao unharmed, he looked even healthier. He was even staring at him with hungry eyes, like he really wanted seconds. Wei Yilong was furious, trembling with rage. Helian Feng, however, who as a heavenly man realm powerhouse, sensed something. He stared warily at Zhang Bao and asked, excuse me, are you a heavenly man realm powerhouse? Zhang Bao just glanced at him, uninterested. He seemed much more interested in Wei Yilong. Helian Feng's face turned ugly. As a heavenly man realm powerhouse, he was used to being respected. Even the vassal king of Yen treated him with courtesy, but now, Zhang Jiao stepped forward and asked Jiang Hao respectfully, "My lord, these people have bad intentions. Shall we brothers eliminate them?" Jiang Hao nodded. "Be my guest." With that, Jiang Hao stepped back, leaving the battlefield to the Zhang brothers. Zhang Jiao, holding his 9-section staff, stepped forward. Instantly, a powerful wind swept through the prison, his robes and hair billowing, the world seeming to revolve around him. Everyone felt a huge pressure bearing down on them, their bodies sinking as if carrying a heavy burden. "You're also in the heavenly man realm." "No, you're at the peak of the heavenly man realm." At this, Helian Feng forgot his anger, staring at Zhang Ju in shock. He thought Zhang Bao was the biggest threat. Now, it seemed Zhang Ju was even stronger. Just then, Zhang Liang stepped forward with his right foot, appearing behind them in an instant, as if teleporting. A terrifying aura radiated from him, making everyone tremble. He now resembled a towering mountain, blocking their retreat. Another heavenly realm. 3 heavenly realm. At this time, Helian Feng was numb, the others were too shocked to speak. The 4 of them, 1 heavenly realm, 3 Dharma realm, what a powerhouse combination. What couldn't they do? They could probably storm the palace and assassinate the Empress. Breaking into the heavenly prison to kill a helpless Jiang Hao should have been a cakewalk, but it seemed they were the ones about to get caught. Chapter 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 celestial realm experts. How the heck are there 3 of them here? Where did they even come from? Helian Feng and the others were freaking out internally, even more shocked than Tao Gongwang had been. Celestial realm powerhouses aren't exactly a dime a dozen. In this day and age, immortality is a pipe dream, making celestial realm experts the apex of power. In the martial arts world, each one is a titan, a major player. Dharma image realm masters can harness the power of heaven and earth to manifest a Dharma image, doubling their combat effectiveness. But celestial realm masters, they directly control the power of heaven and earth, amplifying themselves, becoming invulnerable and tireless. They could fight for days and not even break a sweat, practically gods. A powerhouse like that, going all out, could bust out of a siege of thousands without breaking a sweat. Killing a celestial realm master is next to impossible, unless they decide to off themselves. At worst, they'll just run. That's why each celestial realm master is a major stabilizing force, capable of holding up an entire organization. Take Helian Feng, head of the Black Witch cult. He's a celestial realm master, and that's what allowed the cult to become one of the top sects in Great Zhou. Too bad his bet on the eldest prince went south, and the court stomped them into the dirt. Even if you tallied up all the celestial realm masters in Great Zhou, you wouldn't find a huge number. Each one is vital, so these 3 random celestial realm masters showing up out of nowhere, it threw them for a loop. They'd never seen them before, like they'd materialized out of thin air, and one of them was a peak celestial realm master. Helian Feng stared at Zhang Jiao, staff in hand, and a shiver of fear ran down his spine. As a celestial realm expert himself, he wasn't exactly lacking in pride. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken on Yen King's mission, much less stormed the imperial capital's prison. But now, he was regretting his life choices. Regretting his cockiness. Why'd he take the job? Why'd he charge into the prison? Why hadn't he been more cautious? This wasn't a prison, this was a freaking dragon's den. Together. Kill Duke Wei, Jiang Hao, first. Seeing Zhang Jiao and the others moving, he knew he couldn't hesitate. He wasn't targeting Jiang Hao because he was some loyal servant willing to die for the cause. He wasn't a martyr, and he wasn't about to throw his life away for Yen King. He did it because he saw the 3 celestial realm masters were in sync, a well-oiled machine. Attacking them head-on was suicide, so, he'd go after Jiang Hao, a non-combatant, trying a flanking maneuver. Whether they could actually take out Jiang Hao wasn't the point. The goal was to break up Zhang Jiao's trio, their only hope of survival. Wei Yilong and the other 2, Dharma realm masters in their own right, understood the plan instantly. Without a word, they unleashed their full power. This was a do-or-die moment. Teamwork was the only way they'd see daylight again. In a flash, all 4 of them charged towards Jiang Hao, like 4 tigers unleashed. Their intent was murderous. You wanna die? Zhang Jiao's eyes flashed with fury, his heart burning with rage. In their past lives, the three brothers had all died. It was Jiang Hao who'd gathered their restless souls, bringing them to this new world, giving them new life. He wasn't just their master, he was the parent who'd given them a second chance. So, Helian Feng and the others making a beeline for Jiang Hao. That was a red line. Thunder! Zhang Jiao roared, arms outstretched. He unleashed the terrifying might of a peak celestial realm expert. No, from Helian Feng's perspective, this was beyond anything a peak celestial realm expert should be capable of. As Zhang Jiao roared, the world seemed to bend to his will, forming a self-contained bubble. Inside and outside were completely different. Outside, the prison remained quiet. Inside, it was Zhang Jiao's domain. Within this closed-off world, Wei Yilong and the others couldn't tap into the power of heaven and earth, and even Helian Feng, a celestial realm master, lost control. Even worse, the power of heaven and earth turned violently unstable. Dark clouds swirled, and bolts of purple lightning crackled out of nowhere, raining down on them like a storm. No, seeing the horrifying display, they were terrified. Summoning lightning from nothing? Was this the power of a celestial realm expert? It felt more like something out of ancient myths. They were strong, but they were still mortal. How could they withstand that kind of lightning? In moments, Wei Yilong and the other two were reduced to charcoal, their lives extinguished. Helian Feng, barely clinging to life, was using the Yuanli of a celestial realm master to power a shield, barely holding. Then, Zhang Bao and Zhang Liang exchanged a look, and vanished. A punch, a kick, both landing on Helian Feng simultaneously. Compared to Zhang Jiao, the mage, they were the warriors. Each blow was infused with their life's martial arts skills, amplified by the raw power of heaven and earth. A deafening boom shattered the air, blood and gore exploded outward. Helian Feng, unable to harness the power of heaven and earth, was obliterated. Renowned celestial realm expert, dead, and done in. Of course, Zhang Jiao had done most of the heavy lifting. Without his control, even Zhang Bao and Zhang Liang might not have been able to kill a celestial realm master so easily. The fight highlighted the Zhang Jiao brothers' strength. For Jiang Hao, together, they could take down celestial realm masters like they were chopping vegetables. It was truly astounding. How can you summon thunder and lightning? Jiang Hao looked at Zhang Jiao, curious. I've grasped a sliver of the law of thunder and lightning. By tapping into the power of heaven and earth, I can summon it. Zhang Jiao explained quickly. Since coming to this world, he'd learned a lot. Then he added, if you want to break through to immortality, you have to grasp the power of rules first. It's like a key, you have to have the right key to open the door. Jiang Hao was taken aback. He couldn't help but wonder, that is the reason why immortality is so rare nowadays, the reason no legendary masters have appeared for so long, related to the power of rules. So, you'll be able to break through to immortality soon? Jiang Hao asked. Zhang Jiao shook his head. I've only grasped a tiny bit of the law of thunder and lightning. I'm far from mastering it. I don't know when I'll be able to break through. Jiang Hao was a little disappointed, but not too disappointed. The Zhang Jiao brothers' strength had already exceeded his wildest expectations, plus, he got two for the price of one. What more could he ask for? He had to admit, this heroic spirit card was worth more than he'd imagined. Master, should we kill this one? Zhang Liang, holding the unconscious Tao Gongwang, strode over. Chapter 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Zhang Liang holding the prison warden, Tao Gongwang, Jiang Hao and Zhang Jiao exchanged amused glances. Jiang Hao, with his emperor-like senses, was incredibly perceptive, and Zhang Jiao, with his enhanced abilities, missed nothing. They both knew the warden was faking it. Even Zhang Liang was aware, but he played along, asking, since he's unconscious, should we just finish him off? Jiang Hao boomed, loud enough for everyone to hear. Sounds good. Zhang Liang yelled back. He then tossed Tao Gongwang to the ground like a sack of potatoes. The impact nearly broke Tao Gongwang's back. Ignoring the pain, he shot his eyes open, scrambled to his feet, and shouted, I'm awake. I'm awake. Please, Duke Weigua, and, Taoist priest, I'm innocent. Don't hurt me. Oh, you're awake. Jiang Hao said dryly. He waved his hand, unfazed. Kill him anyway. Tao Gongwang visibly shuddered, his face drained of color, having witnessed the brutal demise of Helian Feng and his crew. He didn't doubt for a second that these guys meant business. If they could off a heavenly human realm powerhouse like Helian Feng on a whim, what chance did a 2-bit Dragon Gate realm warden have? Duke Weigua, please. Please, have mercy. I swear, I'm just a bystander. I was forced into this. I didn't want any of this. Tao Gongwang choked up, tears welling in his eyes. He spilled the whole story, how he'd been minding his own business, sipping tea at his desk, when Jiang Wenhua dragged him into this mess. Meeting that guy was the worst thing that could happen to him. Duke Weigua, I've always treated you fairly since you were locked up. No tricks, no torture. Please, spare my life. Consider my service these past few days. Tao Gongwang pleaded. If Zhang Liang wasn't glaring at him, he'd probably be hugging Jiang Hao's legs. Looks like you're actually innocent. In that case, maybe we could let you go, Jiang Hao said, pausing. Just as Tao Gongwang started to breathe a sigh of relief, he added, but you know too much. What if you rat me out? Then what? Nah, can't do it. The only way to keep a secret is to kill the guy who knows it. Let me do it, boss. We pin this on the dead guys, and the court will never suspect a thing. Zhang Bao rubbed his hands, practically drooling at the thought. Terror clawed at Tao Gongwang's soul. No, no, I'd never breathe a word. I promise. I swear on everything, I'll keep my mouth shut. That are you kidding me? 3 heavenly human realm powerhouses were right in front of him. What was the court going to do? Send an army after them? And even if he reported them, what made him think he could hide from their revenge? He'd have to be insane to do something so pointless, but Jiang Hao shook his head. Oaths are worthless, especially coming from you, Tao Siyu. A guy who flips once will flip again. Someone puts the squeeze on you, you'll sell me out again, won't you? Tao Gongwang was on the verge of tears. Duke Wei, tell me what you want. Anything. Just spare my life. Well, I do have a little something in mind. It's called the 3 corpses brainworm pill. It has 3 nasty corpse worms in it. Swallow it, and they'll burrow into your brain. Everything seems normal, but every Dragon Boat Festival, unless you take the antidote, those little buggers will go wild. You can probably guess what happens then. Jiang Hao held out his palm, revealing a glossy black pill, the Sancher Nao Shindan. A reward he'd gotten a while back. He'd just been saving it, and now, it was perfect for Tao Gongwang. This guy wasn't necessarily evil, but he was definitely a pushover. Without some kind of control, he could easily betray them, but with a little persuasion in the form of mind control, Tao Gongwang, as the warden, could make Jiang Hao's life a whole lot easier. If he wanted something, Tao Gongwang could get it for him, which was why Jiang Hao wasn't going to kill him. 3 corpses brainworm pill. Tao Gongwang stared at the pill, his face stiff. He knew that once he swallowed it, his life would be completely in Jiang Hao's hands. He'd be a puppet, but if he didn't swallow it, he'd probably die right now. One was losing freedom, the other was losing life. He chose life. After all, a bad life was better than no life at all. He gritted his teeth, snatched the pill, and swallowed it without another word. Duke Weigua, I'm yours from now on, Tao Gongwang said, looking utterly defeated. Jiang Hao smiled and clapped him on the shoulder. Relax, I'm pretty low-key. I won't bother you much. Just keep doing what you're doing. Now, go take care of those bodies. Before, getting rid of the corpses would have been a hassle, but now, with the warden on his side, it was a piece of cake. Jiang Hao turned to the Zhang brothers and asked, so, what's next for you guys? That they exchanged glances, a little lost. We'll follow you, master. Jiang Hao shook his head. I'm sticking around here for a while. You want to stay in prison with me? That they were speechless, they couldn't understand why Jiang Hao would want to stay. The warden was under his thumb. With the 3 of them as bodyguards, Jiang Hao could leave without anyone even noticing, but since they couldn't figure it out, they didn't argue. If you need us, we'll stay by your side. No need for that, Jiang Hao chuckled, he was staying here to chill, he was used to it, they didn't need to waste their talents here. You've been reborn. Go see the world. It's different than your old one, but there's still a yellow turban army out there. Check it out. Maybe you'll find a new purpose, make up for your regrets. Jiang Hao suggested, the yellow turban army in the Great Zhou dynasty wasn't much of a threat, to be honest, the court barely even paid attention to them. The country was too big, too many factions running around. But with Zhang Jiao at the helm, things could change. Jiang Hao was curious if Zhang Jiao, with his past failures and his heavenly realm strength, could actually pull off a successful yellow turban revolution, that would definitely catch the Empress's attention. Speaking of which, Jiang Hao suddenly thought of someone, and his eyes narrowed. The Empress could wait, but this other person had been pushing his buttons. Did they think he was some kind of pushover? Time to return the favor. Before you go, though, I need you to deliver a message to someone for me. Chapter 34. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yongsui City, it was a sprawling city in the northern part of the Great Zhou, the longtime stronghold of the King of Yen. When the 8 kings launched their rebellion, they designated this place as their main base. Upon learning that the Empress planned to raise 1,000,000 troops to attack, they didn't dare take it lightly, instead ramping up their own recruitment efforts, ready to defend the city to the death. However, the imperial army hadn't arrived yet, and Yongsui City hadn't become a ghost town. Each day, a steady stream of pedestrians and merchants passed through its gates. Lost among the crowd were 3 Taoists. Entering this northern giant for the first time, Zhang Liang used a secret voice transmission to say to Zhang Ju, "Brother, this Yongsui City is huge. It might not be as big as the capital, but it dwarfs Luoyang and Chang'an." His tone was full of amazement. As a well-known general, he was naturally knowledgeable, having followed his brother on travels throughout the country, but everything in this new world astonished him. Zhang Ju chuckled, explaining, "Of course. Everyone here knows martial arts. Some warriors can leap several feet high. If the city walls weren't tall, they wouldn't need siege equipment. An army could just rush in and take it. How else would you defend a city like this?" These 3 Taoists were the Zhang Ju brothers from the capital. They were here on Jiang Hao's orders. Although the capital was thousands of miles from Yongsui City, those in the Tianren realm could travel much faster than ordinary people. They'd made it to Yongsui City in only 4 or 5 days, and that was because they were new to the area and didn't know the best route, which slowed them down quite a bit. Compared to Helian Feng, the Black Witch cult pope, who arrived in half a day, they were practically crawling. Zhang Bao chimed in, "Brother, should we head to the King of Yen now?" Zhang Ju, looking completely unfazed, replied, "Let's go right now." He didn't seem to take the King of Yen seriously. He was more interested in the Yellow Turban army in this world. After all, that was the ideal and the cause he had devoted his life to. "Let's wrap this up quickly so we can check out that Yellow Turban army the master mentioned." "I can't wait." Back at the King of Yan's mansion, a servant announced, "Your Highness, 3 Taoists are here claiming they have news about Helian Feng and the others." "News about Helian Feng? Excellent. Finally, some word about them." The King of Yen shot to his feet, his face brightening. Ever since the Black Witch cult pope Helian Feng left for the capital, they hadn't heard a thing. Wei Yilong and the other 2 vanished with him. Even though the King of Yen was confident in their abilities, he couldn't help but wonder if their mission had failed, or if they'd been captured by the court, but it didn't make sense. The 4 of them had been sent on short notice. There was no way the court could have known in advance. Besides, all 4 were at least Dharma image realm cultivators, and their leader, Helian Feng, was a powerful figure in the heavenly man realm. Even if the court had discovered them and their mission had gone sideways, they could have escaped. It was impossible for them to be captured so easily. Thankfully, they were finally getting some news. The King of Yen couldn't figure out why 3 Taoists were delivering it, but he didn't dwell on it. "Bring them in at once," he ordered. "Hold on." Yao Zhijia interjected. The King of Yen turned to Yao Zhijia, looking puzzled. "What is it, Mr. Yao?" Ever since the last incident, the King of Yen held Yao Zhijia in high regard. He had promoted him to military advisor and kept him close for advice. To be fair, the King of Yen might have flaws, but he valued talent. And he had been deliberately trying to get rid of Jiang Hao, which shows how much he valued Jiang Hao. Yao Zhijia frowned. He couldn't pinpoint the exact reason, but something felt off. Maybe it was just the gut feeling of an intelligent man, but he sensed something amiss. Why would 3 Taoists be delivering news about Helian Feng? Without waiting for the King of Yen to respond, he turned to the servant and asked, was there anything unusual about those 3 Taoists? The servant blinked, then shook his head. Just 3 ordinary Taoists. The King of Yan's mansion was full of important figures. Dignitaries were coming and going every day. Even the doormen had become accustomed to a certain level of prestige. In their eyes, the 3 simply dressed Zhang brothers were, in fact, pretty ordinary compared to the usual visitors. Hearing this, the King of Yen chuckled. Mr. Yao, it seems you're worrying too much. I'm not some weak scholar like the Duke of Weiguo, I'm a Dharma image realm powerhouse. What threat could 3 ordinary Taoists pose? The King of Yen dared to fight for the throne, so he had to have some skill. Although years of indulgence had diminished his fighting prowess, his Dharma image realm cultivation was genuine. Yao Zhijia couldn't come up with a counter-argument, but he still suggested, at this critical moment, Your Majesty should be cautious. It'd be better to have Commander Lu bring his men, just in case. Commander Lu led the King of Yan's guard. While not in the Heavenly Man realm, he was still a formidable Dharma image realm expert. After all, you can't have a Heavenly Man realm expert guarding someone's house. Not even the King of Yan's. Commander Lu stayed with the King of Yen because the King of Yen had once done him a great service. The King of Yen was generally open to advice. At least for now, he listened to Yao Zhijia and had someone summon Commander Lu and his men. Soon, Commander Lu arrived with a squad of guards. The King of Yen smiled at Yao Zhijia. Is that better now? That with Commander Lu, a peak Dharma image realm expert, in charge, a squad of elite guards, and the King of Yen himself, who was also a Dharma image realm expert, they were well protected, and this was the King of Yan's residence. If anything happened, they just needed to hold out until reinforcements arrived. At that point, even a Heavenly Man realm expert wouldn't be able to escape. Yao Zhijia finally relaxed and nodded to the King of Yen. Mr. Yao is great, but he's too cautious. This is Yongsui City, my residence. What thief would dare cause trouble here? The King of Yen shook his head. He really thought Yao Zhijia was overreacting. Then, smiling, he ordered the servant, go and bring in those 3 ordinary Taoists. Chapter 35. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After securing permission from the King of Yen, Zhang Ju and his companions promptly entered the mansion. The sheer size and opulence of the king's residence were staggering. Everywhere they looked, there was grandeur, with intricately carved railings and jade brickwork. It felt like they were in the imperial palace itself. Without a guide, anyone could easily get lost in the confusing layout and never find the king. Even with someone leading the way, they still navigated through a maze of corridors and courtyards before finally reaching the king's location. Once there, they were thoroughly searched for weapons by watchful guards before they finally met their target. The King of Yen was a large, imposing man, broad-shouldered and thick-waisted. He looked like a warrior from his younger days. Years of luxury had softened him, but he still commanded an intimidating presence. His face was broad and stern, and his piercing gaze could make anyone uneasy. As Zhang Ju and his companions studied the king, he was doing the same to them. The king prided himself on his judgment, which had led him to discover valuable men like Lu Tongling and Yao Zhijia. But these 3 Taoists were different. He couldn't quite figure them out. Outwardly, they were unremarkable, dressed in simple, dusty robes. Had they not arrived with news of Helian Feng and the others, they wouldn't have even been allowed inside the gate. Yet, beneath their plain exterior, they exuded an unwavering strength, like mountains that nothing could move. This blend of ordinariness and extraordinary presence was perplexing. The king frowned slightly and glanced at Yao Zhijia and Commander Lu, his advisors. Yao Zhijia was a shrewd strategist, and Lu Tongling was a powerful warrior. Surely they could discern something. However, they both shook their heads, equally unable to decipher the Taoist's true nature. Are you the King of Yen? Zhang Ju stepped forward and asked, wanting to confirm the identity of their target. How dare you? Commander Lu snapped, his face darkening. Who do you think you are, addressing His Highness so casually? Kneel and show some respect. That he took a step forward, radiating power, and a terrifying image loomed behind him, threatening to crush them. An ordinary person would have likely cowered in fear, but Jiang Ju and his brothers were anything but ordinary. They were powerful now, and in their past lives, they had nearly toppled an empire. They wouldn't kneel before a mere vassal king, or even the queen. They would only kneel before one person. Therefore, they remained unfazed. Enough, the king of Yen said calmly, waving his hand. Guests are guests. These Taoists have traveled far, so let's skip the formalities. Seeing their composure, he was even more convinced that they were not ordinary. Regardless, he wasn't overly concerned. He was in his own territory, surrounded by loyal soldiers and the powerful Commander Lu. He doubted anyone would cause trouble here. I am Ji Yuanchong. I doubt anyone would dare impersonate me. The king of Yen spoke with pride. He turned to Jiang Ju and his companions, his curiosity piqued. May I ask where you three practice? We brothers are currently wanderers. Oh. The king's interest grew, and his collector's instincts kicked in. Consider my palace. If you don't mind, why not stay here for a while? I'm afraid that wouldn't work, Jiang Ju said, chuckling and shaking his head. Why not? The king asked, puzzled. Jiang Ju didn't explain. Instead, he asked, aren't you interested in the news about Helian Feng and the others? That the king of Yen had been so caught up in Jiang Ju and the other two just now, and he actually forgot about the business. He immediately asked, where are the four of them now? They have returned to the underworld. What? Impossible. The king shot to his feet, incredulous. Who killed them? We did. The king stared at Jiang Ju, his expression a mixture of anger and disbelief. Are you trying to be funny, Taoist priest? Jiang Ju shook his head slowly. I'm telling you all this because my master asked me to say hello on his behalf so that you can at least die with a clear understanding. After all, it's rude to receive something without giving back. It's impolite to come without doing anything. Your master, wait, your master isn't Wei. Thinking of the mission of Helian Feng and the other four, the name of a person appeared in the mind of the king of Yen involuntarily. The eyes were full of fear. Before he could finish the name, a wave of terrifying power erupted from Jiang Ju, crushing everything in its path. Commander Lu's power, immense as it was dwarfed in comparison. It was like comparing a pebble to a mountain, and it was obliterated instantly. Even more frightening, the pressure from the other two felt like the sky was falling. The combined pressure from the three was overwhelming. Even Commander Lu, a peak master, was helpless. Everyone in the room was paralyzed. It was like a sudden, violent storm, lightning and thunder, blood. When the storm subsided, Jiang Ju and his companions were gone. Only corpses remained. The king of Yen was also among the dead. Slumped in his chair. Chapter 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The king of Yen is dead. The news hit Yongsui City like a bomb. Scratch that, it was bigger than a bomb. Yongsui City had been the king of Yan's turf for years. He was Yongsui City. In a way, his death was a complete shock to the locals. It felt like the sky had just fallen. The news spread like wildfire. The other 7 princes who joined Yen in the rebellion were the first to show up. Is the king of Yen really dead? That they were stunned by the chaos they found in Yan's mansion. At first, they hadn't believed the reports, thought it was some kind of sick joke. After all, Yen never traveled without a ton of guards, and he was no pushover himself. How could anyone assassinate him so easily? Especially inside his own mansion, in Yongsui City. It sounded like a fairy tale, but staring at Yan's corpse, they had to believe it. Who the hell would be so bold as to assassinate a prince in broad daylight? Prince Lu, who had as much clout as Yan among the 7, roared. Everyone's eyes snapped to the lord of Yongsui City. He was Yan's right-hand man, second in command in the city. He was definitely on the hook for this mess. The lord of Yongsui City felt the heat of their glares and started sweating bullets. He knew that if he didn't come up with a good explanation, he'd be joining Yan in the afterlife. My lords, I swear, I had nothing to do with this. From what the palace staff told us, 3 Taoist priests snuck into the city this morning, tricked His Royal Highness into letting them in, and then ambushed him. They were in and out fast. As soon as I heard what happened, I locked down the whole city, but it was too late. They'd already vanished. The lord of Yongshui's city swallowed hard, looking desperate. The princes frowned. They weren't buying it, but they didn't press him. They turned to an old man who'd come with them. The old man immediately examined Yan's body. He also checked out Commander Lu and Yao Zhijia, who were nearby. Then, his eyes widened in shock. He took a deep breath and finally spoke. Judging by the scene, hundreds of people in this mansion were helpless against them. They were mowed down in seconds. If I'm not mistaken, 3 masters of the heavenly realm did this together. So, you really can't blame the city lord. Even if the whole army had shown up, they probably couldn't have caught 3 heavenly realm masters. What? 3 heavenly realm masters? You're saying 3 of them were working together? That everyone gasped. Even the lord of Yongshui's city was stunned. He'd figured maybe 1, tops 2, of the Taoists were heavenly realm masters. He hadn't imagined 3 of them. Suddenly, he felt lucky he hadn't tried to stop them. He'd probably be dead now. No one spoke. If 3 heavenly realm masters were involved, then everything made sense, but that raised a new question: where did these guys come from? And what did Yan do to piss off 3 heavenly realm masters enough to have them assassinate him? Heavenly realm masters were big shots, top dogs in the martial arts world. They were almost as powerful as the princes themselves. The only one who'd willingly take orders from a prince was Helian Feng, the Black Witch cult pope, and that was just to get his cult back on top. The others were their own bosses. They wouldn't even give a prince the time of day, so why would one of them become an assassin? The other heavenly realm experts would laugh them out of the room. They were too important for that kind of job. So, who are these 3 Taoists? That everyone looked back at the old man. He was a veteran heavenly realm expert, but he shook his head. I haven't met every heavenly realm expert in the Great Zhou, but I know most of them. These 3 Taoists. I don't recognize any of them. The palace staff said they looked like Zhou people, no doubt about it. That the lord of Yongshui city chimed in. Everyone frowned. Where did these guys come from? Enough guessing. Prince Xing, who was closest to Yan, exploded. Since nobody knows them, they must be from the court. Or rather, they're heavenly realm masters the royal family has been training in secret. So, it's clear as day. That good-for-nothing niece of ours sent them. It's outrageous. How can someone so ruthless rule the Great Zhou? What? King Yan is dead. 3 heavenly realm experts. I sent them. In the palace, the Empress Ji Luoyao stared at Qiao Xiaobing, the commander of the Jinyui, in disbelief. Yan's death was definitely good news, but she hadn't ordered the assassination. What the hell is going on? Ji Luoyao demanded. Qiao Xiaobing rattled off everything the Jinyui had learned. Ji Luoyao fell silent. She had the same question as the 7 princes. Where did these heavenly realm masters come from? She couldn't figure it out. She was sure they weren't from the court, let alone the royal family. What's the situation out there? Ji Luoyao asked. Yan's head is on a platter, and everyone's freaking out. A bunch of princes are scared and sending apologies. Your Majesty is blessed. It's great news. Qiao Xiaobing gushed, but Ji Luoyao wasn't buying it. She wasn't a naive newbie anymore. She knew this wasn't so simple. If there's good news, there's bad news, right? She pressed. Well. Qiao Xiaobing hesitated. Spit it out. Ji Luoyao snapped. Qiao Xiaobing blanched and blurted, the king of Yan was assassinated by 3 heavenly realm masters. People are saying your majesty went too far, was too ruthless, isn't fit to lead. Some princes are scared and begging for mercy, but it's just made the rest team up, and other forces are secretly helping them. He shut his mouth, afraid to say more. He glanced at the Empress. Her face was dark. The 8 princes' rebellion was in full swing, but it was still just a family squabble, a Ji family civil war. The Empress wanted to clip the prince's wings, and they weren't happy about it. Whoever was stronger would win, but now, the Empress had used heavenly realm masters to assassinate Yan. That changed everything. First, it broke the rules. If everyone started using Heavenly Realm assassins, no one would be safe. You have a Heavenly Realm master. So do I. Second, it was hard to spin assassinating your own uncle as a good look for the great Zhou, finally, who wouldn't be scared of someone so ruthless, who could kill their own family without batting an eye. The other princes would be terrified, some might surrender, but most would fight to the death. If Yan got assassinated even after surrendering, they figured they might as well go down swinging. Yan's death hadn't cooled things down. It had made the rebellion even bigger. And she'd had nothing to do with it, she was getting all the blame. Ji Luoyao was not happy. Who is doing this? Ji Luoyao raged inwardly. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Prince Yan's death definitely made waves. He was the first prince with the guts to stand up to the Empress, a leader, in a way, but his death didn't exactly calm things down in the Great Zhou. If anything, his sacrifice just pissed off the other princes even more. It was like pouring gasoline on a fire, making the fire in the Great Zhou burn hotter than ever. Even though the court quickly put out a statement saying they weren't behind the assassination, and even expressed their condolences for Prince Yan's death and condemned the killers, nobody bought it. I mean, come on, there are only so many Celestial Realm Masters around. If those three Taoists weren't from the martial arts world, who else but the royal family could quietly train three of them? Nobody believed it, not even people in the court. Everyone just assumed the Empress had it done on the sly. She had the motive, and she definitely had the muscle. For once, Ji Luoyao was speechless. When everyone thinks you did something, even if you didn't, it sticks to you. Who would have thought she, the Empress of the Great Zhou, would end up as the fall guy? But even she couldn't figure out where these three Celestial Realm powerhouses came from, popping up out of nowhere. Nobody suspected that the guy who started all this was chilling in the sky prison. Actually, Jiang Hao never planned to whack Prince Yan in the first place. The prince giving Ji Luoyao grief was, in a way, helping him get revenge. He was happy to watch them go at it, even happier if they beat each other senseless. But Prince Yan, like the third prince, Ji Xianjing, was just plain thick-headed, a Ji family trait, maybe. He kept sending people after him. The Black Witch cult's archbishop failed to take him out last time. This time, he sent 4 masters, 1 celestial realm and 3 Dharma image realm. And everyone thinks he's just a weak scholar. The prince going all out showed he was scared and wanted him gone. No matter what, Jiang Hao shuddered to think what kind of crew the prince would send next time if this failed. He didn't think the prince could scare up any more celestial realm masters, but he wasn't about to bet on it. Just to be safe, he had to take the initiative, kill Prince Yan, cut the problem off at the source. Turns out, his solution worked pretty well. Never mind how much of a mess Prince Yan's death caused, at least nobody bothered him for a good long while afterward. Assassinating someone on the heavily guarded 18th floor of the Sky Prison takes balls, and serious power. It's a high bar to clear. The Empress was too busy dealing with the fallout from Prince Yan's death, plus, she swore she wouldn't go back to the Sky Prison after Jiang Hao whipped her last time. She wasn't about to go back on her word that soon. Jiang Hao was happy for the peace and quiet. He could finally chill and do his own thing in the Sky Prison, the 18th floor of the Sky Prison. Jiang Hao woke up, ding, lying down for 3 months straight earns a special reward. Congratulations, host, you've gained a Demon King's cultivation. 3 months already. Time flies when you're doing nothing. 3 months just vanished. Jiang Hao shook his head, still a little groggy, and soon snapped out of it. But this reward, a Demon King's cultivation. Jiang Hao frowned, a little disappointed. He was hoping for another heroic spirit card. The last one was such a sweet deal, buy 1, get 2 free. Besides Zhang Jiao, the top-tier Celestial Realm Master, you also got Zhang Bao and Zhang Liang, 2 other Celestial Realm powerhouses. If Jiang Hao wasn't committed to doing nothing right now, he could bust out of the Sky Prison with the 3 Zhang brothers' help and raise hell. But even without the urge to cause trouble, the heroic spirit card was still a fantastic prize. At least he could set some things in motion. The heroic spirit card is way simpler and more straightforward than the human emperor body or sleeping dragon technique, which take time to work. You can use it right away. This time's reward seemed a lot less useful. Not that it was bad. This Demon King cultivation could conjure up a Demon King level powerhouse out of thin air, and a Demon King level powerhouse can go toe-to-toe with a Celestial Realm Master. but the thing is, he's human, not a demon. If he forced himself to absorb that demon king cultivation and something went sideways, he'd be screwed. Guess I'll have to give it to you. Jiang Hao had an idea. The shadow under his feet started squirming, then, a twisted figure crawled out of his shadow, the shadow demon. The shadow demon seemed stoked to be called by Jiang Hao, its master. It grinned, looking as nasty as it could, which made Jiang Hao frown. The shadow demon was way stronger than when it first showed up, thanks to swallowing those dark spirit fruits, but it was still miles from demon king status, like the huge gap between Dharma and celestial realms. Even as a 10th level demon, breaking through to demon king wasn't easy for the shadow demon. To be honest, it's harder for demons to level up than humans. Want this? Jiang Hao raised his right hand, and a weird ball of light appeared in his palm. Feeling the crazy energy in that ball, especially since that energy seemed to be a perfect match for it, the shadow demon got super excited. Jiang Hao smiled, didn't tease it, and just popped the ball of light into the shadow demon's mouth. The second that ball of light hit the shadow demon's mouth, it turned into a constant stream of cultivation energy. Without the shadow demon even trying, it just flowed straight into its core. Then, in a flash, it boosted the shadow demon's power. Normally, the shadow demon would need decades, maybe centuries, to build up enough energy to even try to break through. But now, it did it in a few breaths. Then it started its promotion, whether it wanted to or not, charging headfirst towards the demon king realm. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The shadow demon's breakthrough was surprisingly easy. First, the shadow demon was already a powerful 10th order demon with a hefty dose of dark spirit fruits under its belt. It was packing the kind of punch you'd expect from a top-tier Dharma image realm human. Second, the demon king cultivation boost from the system was seriously next level. Jiang Hao knew this cultivation perk could conjure up a demon king level powerhouse from scratch. Even a fresh out-of-the-box demon king would benefit immensely from this cultivation boost. So, when you pump that juice into a demon like the shadow demon, which was already juiced, the result was off the charts. Normally, when a human cracks into the heavenly man realm, it's a real spectacle, but the shadow demon, being a creature of the shadows, didn't trigger the whole heaven and earth power show. Still, in just over an hour, the shadow demon re-emerged, breakthrough complete. Its appearance hadn't changed much. After all, it could shape-shift at will, but its presence, totally different vibe. Now, the shadow demon could practically command shadow energy with a flick of its wrist, especially in the dark. It ruled the night. This demon king level shadow demon was a top-of-the-line hunter. When it melted into the shadows, it practically disappeared, making it even harder to spot. Even a heavenly man realm powerhouse would be hard-pressed to pick up on any clues. You could say the shadow demon was born into invincibility, a master of both offense and defense, surpassing your average heavenly man realm warrior. Awesome, just awesome. Didn't let me down. After a chat with the shadow demon, feeling its newfound mojo, Jiang Hao couldn't help but grin. With the shadow demon leveling up to demon king, his own safety net got a serious upgrade. No matter how loyal a guard is, they can't be on duty 24/7 like the shadow demon. Plus, the shadow demon could hide in plain sight, totally undetectable. Even if another heavenly realm attack went down, the demon king shadow demon could have his back, guaranteeing his safety. And the shadow demon's promotion opens up another opportunity for me. After breaking through the earthly evil realm, Jiang Hao's cultivation progress had slowed a touch, but overall, he was still killing it. After all, he had a steady stream of evil spirits to siphon from the dungeon depths. Compared to everyone else, his progress was mind-blowing. After a month of hard training, he was on the cusp of another breakthrough. Yep, he was gearing up to tackle a new realm. If anyone knew, their jaws would hit the floor. Jiang Hao's cultivation speed was just plain absurd. After the earthly evil realm comes the heavenly gang realm. Just like you need evil spirits to break into the earthly evil realm, you need to soak up gang chi to reach the heavenly gang realm. The heavenly gang realm is all about mastering the power of heavenly gang. The difference is, evil spirits hang out underground, in special spots like underground caves and evil caves. Gang chi, on the other hand, is born way up in the heavens. Once you nail the heavenly gang realm, you can naturally pull gang chi from the air to fuel your training, but until then, earthly evil realm practitioners are out of luck. They gotta snag some gang chi ahead of time to get over the hump. besides a few gnarly peaks where you can scrape together a bit of gang chi, only Heavenly Man Realm badasses can pull off a full gang chi collection. That's because only Heavenly Man Realm practitioners can get some airtime. They can soar high into the sky and snag a full serving of gang chi, but up there, it's a whole different ballgame. Even for the top dogs in the Tianren realm, it's no walk in the park. It could take 10 days, 2 weeks, or longer to score a piece of gangchi, and since these Tianren realm masters are already stacked, they can only offer so much help. Regular Joes don't stand a chance. That's why gangchi is worth more than shaki. If you want to break into the Tiangang realm, unless you know someone, you're gonna have to shell out big bucks for a piece of gangchi. But Jiang Hao didn't have to sweat it. Sure, the Shadow Demon might not be the toughest brawler compared to other Tianren realm masters, but in other departments, it blows them out of the water. For example, flying is a piece of cake for the Shadow Demon. Before he knew it, another 2 weeks had zipped by. In that time, with the Shadow Demon working day and night, Jiang Hao had racked up 15 helpings of gang chi. Yep, 15 in 2 weeks. That's 1 serving a day. The Shadow Demon's work ethic was so off the charts it would make those Tianren realm masters blush. Jiang Hao even toyed with the idea that if he ever hit a rough patch, he could make a killing just selling gang chi, but that was just a thought. With Jiang Hao's skills, even if he tanked, he wouldn't need the Shadow Demon to do hard labor. He could get cash anytime. At this point, Jiang Hao had maxed out the earthly evil realm and was ready to make a run for the heavenly evil realm. Since he had the foundation, and 16 servings of gang chi in his corner, he was ready. Jiang Hao didn't hesitate. He told the Shadow Demon to vanish into the shadows and keep an eye on things. Then, he stretched out on the stone bed in the sky prison. He fired up the Zhilong sleeping skill and went full send on the Tiangang realm. The gangchi next to him was sucked into Jiang Hao's body, one by one. At the same time, the 360 acupoints in his body lit up like Christmas, and his clone deities went all in with their Yuanli. The mysterious energy surged, and the light blazed. The raw, untamed Yuanli crashed against the void like ocean waves. For a moment, Jiang Hao was glowing, and the sky prison felt like a holy ground. His body was like a massive world. The supercharged gangchi flooded his body, going head to head with the cold, fierce evil spirit. They clashed and merged. As it happened, Jiang Hao's cultivation went through some wild changes. It was like a dam bursting. With a whoosh, suddenly, the world popped with color. A wisp of gang chi snuggled up to him, no longer enemies, but the tightest allies. Jiang Hao knew it in his bones. This was the Tiangang realm. From that moment on, he was a martial arts master who wielded the power of Tiangang. Chapter 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though he just leveled up, Jiang Hao was way stronger than your average Tiangang realm master, and that's not even counting the perks that came with being the human emperor body. He only needed 15 doses of gang chi to complete his breakthrough, leaving other Tiangang realm masters in the dust. Trying to absorb stray gang chi from the air is way less efficient than just sucking it down directly. Jiang Hao figured 1 complete dose of gang chi was worth about a month of hardcore, non-stop practice, so, even if you take away the basic gang chi needed for a normal breakthrough, Jiang Hao still absorbed 14 extra doses. That's like 14 extra months of training crammed into one go. Of course, a lot of that was because of his human emperor body, the 360 opened acupoints, and those 360 clone gods helping him slurp up all that gang chi. Anyone else, even with a mountain of gang chi ready to go, wouldn't be able to absorb it all that fast. But comparing the 2 methods like that, Jiang Hao could see how much faster it was to cultivate with the stuff directly. If any Tiangang realm master wanted to max out their potential, the best bet was to just absorb gangchi straight up. The problem? That stuff's rare as hen's teeth. Even if you had a Tianren realm master helping you collect it, it would take them like 2 weeks to snag a single dose, and that only buys you a month of progress. 2 weeks for 1 month. Seems kinda like a ripoff, right? Except, Tianren realm masters have better things to do. They gotta train themselves, so they can't spend all day collecting gangchi for other people. Even if you're talking about father and son, ain't many dads gonna do that for their kids. But for Jiang Hao, it wasn't that big of a deal. After all, his Shadow Demon could collect gangchi way faster. Sure, it was a pain for the Shadow Demon to fly around in the sky collecting the stuff, but if it helped Jiang Hao level up quicker, it would have to suck it up. Alright, I'm leaving it to you. You work hard for a day, and I save a month. Do that for a month or two, and I save myself years. Jiang Hao looked at the shadow demon, his eyes practically glowing. He figured if the shadow demon busted its butt for a month or two, he'd be close to maxing out the Tiangang realm, shadow demon. It could fly, being a shadow creature, but flying around high in the sky collecting gangqi under the scorching sun wasn't exactly a walk in the park, but looking into Jiang Hao's hopeful eyes, how could it possibly refuse? It was stuck between a rock and a hard place. It couldn't let its master down. So, it gritted its teeth, nodded, and decided to give it its all, but then, it sensed something. Its form flickered slightly. Master, 2 sneaky thieves, slipped into the prison, and they seem to be after you. The shadow demon's voice was muffled. Now that it had leveled up to a demon king, its speaking skills seemed to have improved a lot. 2 thieves, Jiang Hao raised an eyebrow. You'll see, that the shadow demon didn't waste words. It waved its hand, and the surrounding fog began to crawl, and dark energy quickly congealed into a mirror. A lifelike image appeared in the mirror. It was showing a level in the prison. 2 figures dressed in black clung to the ceiling like spiders, slowly crawling forward. They were obviously well trained, moving with extreme agility and suppressing their auras to the max. Not a single sound escaped them. Plus, it was late at night, and even though the prison was packed with guards, they were a bit lax, so nobody noticed the uninvited guests sneaking in. Master, should I take them out? That the shadow demon was ready to pounce. With its current strength, it could eliminate the intruders without anyone being the wiser. Can you tell how strong they are? Jiang Hao looked at the shadow demon. He couldn't tell anything from the projection. But the shadow demon was different. After leveling up, its senses had gotten a major boost. It not only sensed the arrival of the 2 men in black in advance, but it could also accurately gauge their strength. By your human standards, Master, they're both in the Tiangang realm. Newly minted ones, probably. Just Tiangang realm. Jiang Hao was a little disappointed, but he quickly snapped out of it. The Tiangang realm wasn't weak, actually, scratch that. The Tiangang realm was pretty damn strong. After all, in the outside world, the Tianren realm was on a whole other level and the Faxiang realm was a big shot. The Tiangang realm, even in big leagues, was a force to be reckoned with. In smaller forces, it was the end-all be-all. How could 2 Tiangang realm masters be considered weak? It's just that Jiang Hao had been hanging around Faxiang and Tianren realm experts lately. Compared to them, the Tiangang realm fighters seemed like small fries. Don't stop them. Let them in. I want to see who has a bone to pick with me and wants me dead. That the more skills you have, the braver you get. As his strength grew, so did Jiang Hao's confidence. If it had been a Tianren realm expert who was coming, he might have been a little cautious, but these were just Tiangang realm masters, 2 of whom had just leveled up. Even without the shadow demon lurking, Jiang Hao wouldn't take them seriously. A few minutes later, accompanied by a series of clicks, the intruders must have brought a key, because they unlocked the cell door. Sis, that Jiang Hao is in here. Let's take him down together and avenge our master, that a male voice whispered. Bro, that Jiang Hao is probably dead asleep. Killing him like that seems too easy. Doesn't he deserve a little more? That a female voice said, sounding angry. Yeah, he's getting off easy, but the guy's got a few tricks up his sleeve. If he wakes up, who knows what'll happen. To be safe, let's just ice him in his sleep. Okay, let's send this bastard to the afterlife. They nodded in agreement. Then, they tiptoed into the 18th level of the prison, but as they went in to take him down, they saw that the bed was empty. Instead, someone was standing right next to them, looking relaxed, watching them with an amused expression. Who else could it be but Jiang Hao? At that moment, they froze. Chapter 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You two have come a long way. What can I do for you? Jiang Hao asked, smiling at them. The siblings were taken aback. This wasn't how they pictured things going down. In their minds, Jiang Hao would be fast asleep, giving them the perfect opportunity to silently kill him and behead him. But there he was, wide awake, almost as if he'd been expecting them. Impossible. They exchanged glances, immediately dismissing the absurd thought. First of all, there's no way he could have known they were coming, and second, if he did know, why would he just stand there waiting to die? No, there was only one explanation: Jiang Hao was bluffing. The thought comforted them. Jiang Hao, you scum, drop the act. You're a dead man. The brother spat, his sister chimed in, her voice full of venom. I thought you'd get off too easy dying in your sleep, but now it looks like karma's *tch. Jiang Hao didn't flinch, acting like the insults were directed at someone else. Instead, he asked, what exactly did I do to make you two so angry? Years ago, you led an army to kill our master, Master Baigu, and wiped out our white-boned sacred sect. Today, we're here to avenge the thousands of people of the white-boned sacred sect. They declared, their faces twisted with hatred. White-boned sacred sect. Jiang Hao thought for a moment, then a memory surfaced. The so-called sacred white-boned sect was just their own name. The real name of this sect was the white-boned demon sect. When the previous emperor died and the empress had just taken the throne, the great Zhou dynasty was in chaos. All sorts of monsters and demons popped up, and Jiang Hao had to lead the army to fight everywhere. In the process, countless forces were put down, the white-boned demon sect among them. Unlike normal sects, the white-boned demon sect was seriously evil. They had combat skills like the white-boned demon claw, which involved practicing with the skulls of living people. And that was just one of many similar techniques. In peaceful times, they might have kept a lid on things, but with the chaos, the white-boned demon sect had no such qualms. They kidnapped people for their rituals, causing untold suffering. When Jiang Hao found out, he didn't hesitate to send the army to wipe them out. While the white-boned demon sect was strong, they were no match for an army. They were slaughtered, their blood flowing like a river. Their entire sect was destroyed in that one battle. I didn't realize any of you from the white-boned demon sect had survived. Learning their identities, Jiang Hao's eyes turned cold. If they were from any other group, he might have been curious to learn more, but the white-boned demon sect deserved to die. He'd already sentenced them the moment he heard their names. Oblivious, the siblings were practically gloating. We're the holy son and holy daughter of the sacred skeleton church. When you attacked the mountain, we escaped through a secret passage, hid our identities to avoid the court. Only recently did we master our skills and emerge again. We just happened to hear that you were imprisoned by the Empress. It's perfect, like two birds with one stone. We have two goals coming out of the mountain. One is to avenge the sacred church, the other is to rebuild it. And killing you lets us achieve both at once. We'll be famous, and rebuilding the sacred skeleton church will be easy. They were practically giddy, already seeing a bright future. Jiang Hao scoffed and shook his head, cutting them off. I don't think you'll accomplish either of those goals. As he spoke, a terrifying aura began to emanate from him. The air around him started to swirl, forming a visible vortex with him at the center. The siblings were stunned by the sight. How do you have so much power? No, aren't you supposed to be weak? They cried in shock, their eyes widened, filled with disbelief. Jiang Hao, known for being a loser, had this kind of power. There are a lot of things you don't know. Weren't you going to kill me to avenge your master? What are you waiting for? Jiang Hao gestured them forward, his face expressionless. They couldn't back down now, they were trapped. Jiang Hao, don't get cocky. We've trained for years and are anything but ordinary. Today, you'll see the power of the white-bone holy sect. With a roar, the holy son's hands turned into white bones, reeking of blood, and he charged at Jiang Hao. Though Jiang Hao lacked combat experience, he was no dummy. Instead of attacking, he waited until the other man was right on top of him before unleashing his power. Though they were both supposed to be in the Tiangang realm, the power Jiang Hao unleashed was 10 times stronger. Not even those in the Dharma image realm could compare. Against that kind of crushing power, the Holy Son's combat skills were useless, too close to dodge, too outmatched to compete. With a loud bang, the raw energy blew through his defenses and slammed into his chest. He flew backward. The holy daughter, rushing behind him, froze. Jiang Hao didn't show her any mercy, even if she wasn't bad-looking. He wasn't one to go easy on anyone. He put all his power into his palm, like it was burning. Then he struck. This was the human level skill he'd gotten before, the fiery sun palm, human-level skills weren't strong, at least not among the elite, but Jiang Hao's power was insane. In his hands, the human-level skill was stronger than an earth-level skill. His palm came down like a burning sword, slicing at the holy daughter. Her defenses shattered, and she too coughed up blood and flew backward. One punch, one palm, and the powerful siblings were helpless. Jiang Hao couldn't help but feel disappointed. He'd let them in not only to find out who they were but also to get some practice, but it was a complete blowout. No experience gained. You're too weak, Jiang Hao sighed, disappointed. The two on the ground were so angry they vomited blood again, but Jiang Hao wasn't done with them. Kill them, he ordered the shadow demon, and then have Tao Gongwang clean up the bodies. That the shadow demon, hidden in the darkness, immediately obeyed. Before they could react, the two were swallowed by the darkness, and then, they were dead.